6:30, time to call the meeting to order. We'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to take note that tonight is Councilman Double's last council meeting, and thank him for his 4 years of service on the council, and say that personally I've enjoyed working with you, and we will miss your thoughts and your out-of-box thinking sometimes, but your commitment and dedication to the council has been unmatched, I think. And you really have you've made the effort, and on a personal level, I've really enjoyed working with you. Thank you. Also, just a week and a half ago, returned from a trip to Misato, Japan, our sister city over there, and had a unique opportunity to see for myself what for so many years people have been telling me about how this is a life-changing experience, and how wonderful Japan is, and how welcoming and gracious and generous everybody is. And I know others on the council have been there ahead of me, but Councilwoman Alexander and I both had a chance to go and participate in a 20-year re-signing of our sister city agreement. And altogether there were 30 people that went, 10 adults and 20 students. And I know there's some here tonight that would like to come up and share a few thoughts about that trip. And I guess at this point I'd like to invite them to come up and to the podium and state your name and your address, and say what you would like to share.
Hi, good evening. My name is Anant Iyengar, and I am a senior at Winona Senior High School, and I had the privilege to go with the jazz band this year to Misato. And this was the first time that I had gone. I had never gone previous years in high school and middle school. And that was always something that kind of bugged me in the back of my head, like, oh, maybe I should have tried, or I should have done that, because everybody came back and said it was such a great experience. And as soon as I got there and we got to Misato, I understood why every single one of those people that had come back had said that. As soon as we got there, we went to their city hall to do the signing of the Sister City Agreement, and just the atmosphere that they presented to us was just so apparent that they wanted us there, that they really appreciated that we had come all the way for this. And it was, as we walked in, there were people lining the sides of the entrance, and they were waving American flags and saying hello, and just being very welcoming towards us. And that was the atmosphere throughout the entire trip. It wasn't just that first day. It was every single day, at our homestays, at every event that we ever went to. Every time we performed, it was the same. It was just the same, and it was amazing how much that this relationship has meant to them, and how much it means to me now that I had the opportunity to go do that. And it was amazing that just something so small as going and staying with a homestay and going to play or doing a cultural fair has made such an impact on me. And it's been a couple of weeks since we went, and I can still kind of feel that sense of belonging that I had there. So it was a great experience that I encourage everybody to try.
Awesome.
My name is Eric. I also went with part of the jazz band, and I had a little bit of different experience than Anant because it was my second time going. And it's tough to feel friendship if you're just meeting them one time, but this second time I maybe knew 8 people in Japan and Misato, and every single one of them made it a point to come and seek me out wherever we were, and gave my family gifts. They've never met my family, but it was beautiful the way they treated us and the friendship that they showed. And one of my favorite things was the culture fair, because we all got to play in the jazz band, and I thought it was going to be kind of tense and a little nerve-wracking, but the warmth that everyone in the town showed to us was incredible. We got to play lots of games with them. It was just an instant connection, and I think friendship is important, whether it's on a one-to-one basis or even town to town. And it's really been an honor being able to experience this. And I just want to thank the city of Winona, yes, for giving me this opportunity.
My name is Max Derbyshire, and I was also part of the jazz band. And my brother had gone 2 years ago, and we had a homestay at our home. And I was always really interested in the trip, but I never really thought about going until this opportunity came up to be in the jazz band. And I was really excited to go, but until I got there and met the family that I was staying with and met everyone in Masato, I never realized how impactful of an experience it really would be. I mean, the family that I stayed with and the family that everyone stayed with, they were all so caring, and they just brought you in and you just felt like you knew these people for your whole life. And I don't think I'll ever let go of those relationships that I made there. And no matter where we went, even if we were in Tokyo and there were random people around us, they would wave at us and they just welcomed us so well. And so being able to make new friends and make so many friends in Masato and develop a really close relationship with the family that you stayed with was just an experience I don't think I'll ever have again in my lifetime. And to be able to actually perform and show them a little bit about jazz was just, it was wonderful. And I think that I'm going to pay a lot more attention and be a lot more involved in when the Japanese students come here because of how wonderful experience I had there and how I never realized how important our relationship between the two cities was. So I guess I'll turn it over to the director of the jazz band that helped put this all together.
We had 2 Erics and 2 Maxes in the band. And I apologize, I have a cold. Must be the airplane cold a week and a half later. I'm Eric Hoikeshoven, by day assistant professor of music at St. Mary's up on the hill, where we're still in finals, by the way. Got one more tomorrow. Honor, privilege, and joy, I think, are the ways that I want to sum this up. I couldn't have asked for a better group of students. There were 7 student players. The 3 you see here, Libby Krigler, my son Max Hoikeshoven, who am I leaving out? Austin Weatherhead, thank you, I'm living out the rhythm section. And Sam Graff. So we had students from Goddard, from Winona High School, and one from St. Mary's. And yes, I recused myself in the audition process. Max was not my choice, my son. We played during the cultural fair and also in the morning for the basketball game. It was a little touch and go. We didn't think we were going to get our equipment in time, but they came through just fine, and I worry too much when I'm on the road. But you mentioned the connections. First of all, Al, you're still well known after 20 years or however long it's been since you were there. They talked about you quite a bit. I hope the pictures will circulate amongst you of a certain Santa Claus and his wife.
So you mean Santa was there?
Yes, Santa was there.
That's pretty cool.
Apparently wearing the Mayor of Goodview's Santa costume. But the warmth, the generosity of the people. My daughter-in-law had been there a number of years ago on the trip, and she said, "Be really careful about giving people stuff, because they're just going to come back at you in spades."
Yep.
And even though I thought we were being mildly careful, that was so true. Some people actually had additional suitcases just to bring home all the gifts. When Joe Lebley asked me, I think it was last summer, if I'd be interested in doing this, I said, of course. And I said, what kind of jazz do they like? Because, you know, if you say you're a jazz musician to somebody, they might think Louis Armstrong, or they might think Miles Davis, or something beyond that. And he says, you know, they like Miles Davis and John Coltrane. So we kind of fashioned our set to those tunes. Dr. John Paulson was my colleague on the trip as well. And it was just fantastic. And my homestay from 3 years ago found me that first day that we got to the City Hall, and we're all quite jet lagged at that point in time. And of course, hands me a gift. And, you know, peace starts with individuals, and I hope that this association, the 2 associations, continue for a long time and teach our children just what it is to be truly cooperative and have friendship and respect for each other. And I thank the city for allowing us to go, and I'll turn it over to you.
Is there anybody else from the group here, or this is all? Well, okay. Well, thank you for coming and sharing those thoughts. And,
Thank you.
we did have 2 basketball teams, middle school girls and boys basketball teams, and the cultural fair that we arranged and put on was very well received. And the whole trip was wonderful, and everybody, especially the students, I have to say, were great ambassadors for the city. So thank you.
I will make a plug, because I'm good at that. We're organizing a, quote, reunion concert and also a fundraiser for the next trip in April, in February, so stand by for the details on that. We were going to do it Super Bowl Sunday until I realized that was the wrong day to do it. So. Okay, so we'll see you there.
Okay, well, thank you.
Mayor, I see Joe Lepley is here. I just wanted to say thank you to Joe for all of his very hard work. He wasn't able to go because of the trip off the steps, but he's been an integral part of our sister city relationship. So thank you, Joe, very much, very much.
And let's not forget, we do have another sister city in Poland as well,
Right.
but tonight we're focused on our Japanese sister city. And last thing I have is just to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday, and also a Happy New Year. So, City Manager?
2 things, Your Honor. First, I want to express my congratulations to Mary and the finance team. The city received Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 2015 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. So again, job well done. Keep up the good work. And also, on behalf of the staff and myself, Councilman Double, I want to thank you for your support and for your support to the staff. It's been an honor to serve with you, and we wish you well. That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right. Roll call?
Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Councilman Thurley.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Alexander. Iden. Orchakowski.
Here.
And Double.
Here.
Under the required public meeting, the first item is the public input into the 2017 proposed property tax levy and proposed budget.
Okay. Public hearing. I'll declare the public hearing open and ask if there's anybody here that wishes to speak. Ask again if anybody is here to speak about the property tax levy and proposed budget. Third and final opportunity. Anybody here want to speak to the proposed property tax levy and proposed budget? Hearing none, I will declare the public hearing closed and ask for a motion.
There's no action required at this
Oh.
time. So we'll
done,
move
then, new
along
business.
to
All right.
item 2.2 is the Visit Winona 2017 proposed budget. And I did email to the council updated budget for the Visit Winona. And Pat Mutter and Ann McDonald are here if you have questions.
Good evening. My name is Ann McDonald, and I have the pleasure of being the chair of the Visit Winona Board this year. So Mayor Peterson, council members, staff, community members, it's just my privilege to be here just to give you a quick update of what Visit Winona has been up to this year, and then also to request an approval of our budget for next year and entertain any questions that you have about our 2017 budget. So Visit Winona has one main goal, and that is to bring visitors to Winona. But that is not something that we do in isolation. We depend so much on our 163 partners to help us not only make Winona a place where people want to come and visit, but where they want to come back and stay. And so a couple of things that especially our city, you have been collaborating with us this year, is we rebranded the city logo. The logo with Visit Winona uses and the city of Winona, so we're so thankful for that collaboration that we have with you. The other way that we continue to draw people into Visit Winona or into Winona is through our website. We have done a major upgrade of our website. We continue to work on website. We continue to push social media. We also invite fam tours. Those are writers to come to Winona. And, you know, we have the regular group of writers, but this year we were so excited to have writers from USA Today and PBS join us. That gives a lot of payback inviting the media, because we have articles in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, and AAA Living, just to name a few. And if you want to know more, we have a whole list of articles that have been published this year, and our great executive director, Pat, will also send them to you if you would like to get on that list. And we also work so closely with not only the local, regional, but state tourism's group to collaborate and bring people not only to just Minnesota, but then get them to come on down to Winona as well. We launched one new video this year focusing on arts and outdoor rec, and we have 2 more in the makings that will launch soon. So I said, once we get visitors here, we want to make sure that they have a tremendous experience. So thank you to the city and the staff for this year helping us refresh the Visitor Center. We welcome 14,000 visitors to the Visitor Center, and we know that once they take a minute to talk to our staff and volunteers at the Visitor Center, not only will they stay, they'll come back and they'll do more things than they ever could have imagined that they would do. So thank you so much to our city for that. Also, we want to thank the rec and tourism, or the rec area, for winning our Outstanding Tourism Award for the year. So congratulations, and thank you for the work that you do to welcome our visitors. We especially like boats. We love it when the American Queen comes. We welcomed the Nina and the Pinta this year, and we look forward to welcoming more boats next year. You know, we also have another mission, and that is to continue to reach out, to develop, to expand our venues, arts, culture, museums, downtown. We're so excited what is happening in downtown, the development of downtown, our new hotel that's coming in. And we're so fortunate to have such great partners like the city, the county, the chamber, and many, many others to help us in this work. So with that, I say thank you so much to supporting us, to collaborating with us, to our wonderful staff, our board, and our volunteers who make it all happen. With that, I would entertain any questions that you have about our 2017 budget.
Darrell?
Does the budget reflect the opening of the new American?
The American Inn opens in 2017 in
Right.
April. So traditionally, it takes a while for that revenue to begin to generate. So we anticipate that April 2018, we will see more of that revenue coming in. So we have not budgeted significantly in this year's budget for that.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I noticed in your budget is that you budgeted in 2016 for the Sister Cities program, and in 2017, you haven't budgeted anything for that. And I just wonder what your thought process is on that.
Correct. We were anticipating that that might be a one-year investment request because of the 20-year anniversary of our partnership. But since you've signed the new agreement, we'll happy to talk with you about our support of that.
Okay. Other comments? George?
Yeah, I'd just like to say also to thank all of our current hotel owners and operators, because with their investments in the community, they help generate these lodging receipts. And a big thank you to all those people out there and the new hotel that's coming in. So without them generating, making investments in our town, a lot of these dollars probably could not be possible. So a big thank you to all of our hotel owners and operators.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
Well, I have kind of a unique seat when it comes to the Visit Winona group, and I do have to say, I realize how hard Visit Winona staff work and all their efforts, and having been on that board for a long time, not anymore, but I've seen that organization grow and prosper, and they're doing very good things. So thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, thank you. It's a tremendous organization. I'm very proud of it.
If we're approving the budget here tonight, and you're open to putting something in there for the sister city, is this something we should talk about at a different time, or is this, I'm just wondering how the process could work here?
I think that would be probably the best of interest to everyone.
Okay, all right, well, we'll have that conversation.
You're very close to us.
Okay.
Can we even approve this then tonight if that's going to be a change?
Well, I'm just wondering if it wouldn't be something we just want to say, let's perhaps put $5,000 back in there and approve it with that change.
How much was budgeted last year?
$5,000. Yeah,
I would make a motion to approve the attached resolution with the proviso that $5,000 be included for sister city activities in fiscal year 2017.
I'd second that.
all right, a motion by Alan, seconded by
Mr. Mayor,
Pam.
is
Yes,
this supposed to be a public hearing on this?
I thought so.
oh, yeah.
Yes.
So
Oh,
when
so
do we
haven't
approve
concluded
this
the
then?
hearing yet.
Well, you have to open the public hearing and close it and then
Oh.
have a
Oh,
motion.
yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, I guess we didn't do that, did we?
We're so wrapped up in this whole thing, you know?
Yeah, you got excited, your enthusiasm. So we'll open it as a public hearing and ask if anybody else wishes to speak, or if you want to make any official comments under the public hearing part of it. I think maybe you've already done that, so.
Do I need to make other comments?
I don't think you have to, but. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak about the CVB budget? Anybody wish to speak about the CVB budget? Last chance? Okay. I'll close the public hearing, and now I'll entertain a motion.
My previous motion stands as I
Okay.
expressed earlier.
All
That's
right.
my second.
And your second? Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And on to item 2.3, it's a public hearing. It's the YMCA Comprehensive Plan Amendment Request for a traditional neighborhood to downtown fringe.
Yeah, I'll declare that public hearing open and ask Carlos to come up and start the conversation.
Evening, Mayor and Council. For this agenda item tonight, staff requests Council consider changing the comprehensive plan land use designation for the YMCA property from traditional neighborhood to downtown fringe. This change is necessary to support future rezoning and eventual redevelopment on the property. Staff's analysis has found the request for downtown fringe designation to be appropriate because this type of land use designation already exists adjacent to the YMCA property. In this general area that is shaded in pink color, the comprehensive plan already designates that as downtown fringe. Right adjacent to that downtown fringe designation that currently exists is the YMCA property. Downtown fringe designation also exists to the north of the YMCA property in the bridge area. The request for the fringe designation is also appropriate because this type of land use designation serves as an appropriate transition from the higher density land uses in downtown to the lower density residential land uses surrounding the downtown area. And finally, because the bridge project has removed a significant portion of the area's residential character, the request for downtown fringe designation is appropriate. On November 14th, the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the request. Options in front of you tonight include approval with the request, approval of the request with the motion to adopt the findings of the Planning Commission and introduce the resolution included in your packets for approval. A supermajority of 5 votes is required for this action because it's a comprehensive plan change You could also look at denying the request, modifying the request, or tabling the request if needed. Thank you.
George, you have a question for
Yeah,
Carlos?
Carlos, now, as you mentioned, we're changing the comprehensive plan, correct? But we're not changing the zoning tonight of that property.
Correct. It's two different things, and the comprehensive plan is just the first step. Rezoning would come later with the development code update.
Okay.
Anybody else here wish to speak to the Y comprehensive plan amendment request? State your name and address.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. My name is Derek Madsen, the CEO of the Winona Family YMCA. We're located at the property in question at 207 Winona Street. I'd just like to say on behalf of the Y, we were very grateful at the Planning Commission's recommendation, as well as support of many neighbors after an extensive process of discussion and evaluation of the work that we did. I think that the Planning Commission's recommendation with proviso about not returning for any zoning requests until the UDC can be finished was an appropriate compromise, and allows us to continue seeking potential purchasers for the property, as well as move the YMCA project forward. This is a very important step, both to indicate to prospective buyers that the YMCA property is appropriate for redevelopment within our city, and that is a key component to the YMCA's campaign for a new facility in this community. The Y serves literally thousands of our friends and neighbors seeking to improve well-being in our community, and the need to find an appropriate use for the current property, the current building, and redevelopment of that is a critical component for our campaign. And so we would ask you to support the Planning Commission's findings this evening on the comprehensive plan change. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak to this topic?
I'm Dave Christensen. I live at 275 Harriet. I'm one of the neighbors of the Y, and I would speak in support of this as long as the proviso for no rezoning until the development code comes in.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak to this topic? Anybody else here to speak? Last chance. Declare the public hearing closed. Ask if there's a motion.
Mayor, I would move that we approve the request.
Second. Motion by George, seconded by Paul. Any further discussion?
Just a
Al?
clarification, you're including the findings of the Planning Commission as well
Yes.
with this motion?
Yes.
Okay, and just to comment, the YMCA has been a part of our community for a very long time, and as a native, as many of us are on council, it's kind of a place I grew up with in the 50s, and I think this is appropriate so that they can continue to contribute to our community and take the next step in their development. And I'm glad to see that they have done their homework and involved the neighbors in this whole process. So I support the motion.
Okay. George?
And along with that, I've had several communications from people, not only in the neighborhoods, but from around the community to support this evening, as I will.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? No, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
And item 2.4 is the Wyndham Park Local Historic District. It's a public hearing.
Okay, I'll declare this public hearing open. Ask if there's anybody here that wishes to speak to the Wyndham Park Local Historic District. Oh, Myron, I was looking at the audience, sorry.
I'll just give a brief overview. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Tonight, the Heritage Preservation Commission has requested that the city council hold a public hearing and ultimately determine if Wyndham Park shall be designated as a local historic district. In your packet and on the wall, you were provided with a map of the proposed district. The district includes 29 properties, 23 of which have some historic merit. So principally a very historic district, and it really does represent early Winona development. With regard to the local designation of a historic district, the city code has a dictates a very specific process on that. In the summer of 2015, we began discussions with members of the neighborhood or residents of the neighborhood. We followed that up with a public information meeting in which we provided everyone, all the landowners within the Wyndham Park, with an explanation of what a local designated district is, and provided them also with information about the historic merits of their property. The HPC passed a resolution supporting moving forward, and staff began to work with on the development of a proposed historic district application. Received feedback from both the Planning Commission and the State Historic Preservation Office, and on November 9th, the HPC held a public hearing and passed resolution number 77, which forwards a recommendation to the council to consider Wyndham Park as a locally designated historic district. Which really brings us to tonight. Much like the amendment to the comprehensive plan, it does require a supermajority of the council, so it does require 5 votes. I'll answer any questions if you should have any.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Myron? George?
Yeah, just one. Are there any real strict restrictions put on this area as to things they can do and not do? And
Well, basically what the local designation does is if a property owner in the district is going to modify the exterior of their property, especially as it pertains to view from a public right-of-way, they have to apply for a certificate of appropriateness. The HPC reviews that certificate of appropriateness and either grants that or makes suggestions. What it is to protect the integrity of that historic neighborhood and protect the buildings. It has nothing to do with the underlying zoning of the building, or we don't review anything on the interior of any of the properties within the district.
Yeah.
Myron, you know, the information in our packet says that there's 23 of 29. What about the other 6 properties in this proposal here?
The other 6 properties really probably fall under 2 categories. Either they were highly modified since they were originally built, okay, or the period of significance in this particular historic district is 1857 to 1930. So the remainder of the properties were probably built after 1930 and don't okay, fall under that period of significance.
What do those property owners then, what does this do to those property owners, I guess would be my question.
They would have still the same review process. I mean, the whole intent of the local designation is really to protect the integrity of that historic neighborhood.
Okay, well, thank you, Myron. I'll ask if there's anybody in the audience that wishes to speak to this topic.
Thank you. Kathy Christensen, 275 Harriet. We are thrilled to be at this point. And my husband and I can speak for him, we would urge you to pass this designation of the historic district. We are thrilled to be at this point, and thank you very much for your hard work. We've worked on this for a long time and can't thank you enough. This will do so much for the noble cause of preservation, for the equally noble cause of the history of the city, and for the equally noble cause of tourism and just the love of the city of Winona. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? Your chance. Anybody else wish to speak? Last chance. Declare the public hearing closed and ask for a motion.
I would so move to approve that district as local historic.
I'd second that.
Motion by George, seconded by Pam. I have to say that I go kind of way back on this. I'm glad to see this is finally happening. I know there was an effort back in the early 90s, I think, to designate that area as a historic district, and I think it says a lot about how far we've come in this community and appreciating our historic resources. So, any other comments or questions? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under the petitions, requests, and communications, item 3.1 is a request by Women in Business to hold a 5K on February 11th.
So move.
Second. Motion by George, seconded by Paul. Any discussion?
Mayor and Council, I just want to let you know too, that's part of Winter Carnival as well. We actually have the Goosebump Jump on the 12th, which is Sunday. There's also a couple other events, and the two groups will just have to work because there's a kite flying event, and we'll have to work out Lake Lodge together. But it should be fine.
It's manageable, though?
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.2 is an appointment to the Board of Adjustment of Paul Kanega.
So, second.
Motion by Paul, seconded by George. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes?
On the application from Paul Kanega, he has selected the Planning Commission.
Right, and there were no openings on the Planning Commission, and given his background, we asked if he would be interested in serving on this commission. The opening would be when Paul Scholmeyer is sworn in on the council. He can no longer be on the Board of Adjustment, so that's why the term is effective in January.
Thank you.
Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.3, a reappointment to the Recreational Waterways Commission of Councilwoman Pam Iden.
Move to approve that appointment.
Second.
Motion by Al, seconded by George. Any discussion?
This has been a truly exhausting job.
But somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under new business, item 5.1 is the 2017 final levy and budget. There are two resolutions. First is for the property tax levy, and the second is for the 2017 budget.
They need to be separately?
No.
Can you make them
They
one
can be
big?
one.
Okay.
I'll move approval.
I'd second that.
Motion by Paul, seconded by Pam. Any discussion?
Want to discuss these in notes?
Oh, yes, we do have a couple of comments here in the back presented to us for 2017. Winona County plans to increase its contribution to the library by approximately $12,000, so that change should be made. And the high-speed rail amount of $2,625 was taken out of the budget during the budget discussions. That amount of tax levy to fund it was moved to the library. Some members of the council have expressed interest in putting the high-speed rail back in the general fund budget, and we need to decide if the council wishes to reverse this move and put the high-speed rail back into the general fund budget. And I want to say that I personally would support that. I've had several conversations with former Mayor Miller, who has been very much involved in the high-speed rail project, with Commissioner Jim Pomeroy, who serves on that commission, other interested citizens, and there is a strong effort here to get a second train, an Amtrak train between St. Paul and Chicago, and I think, as they do, that Winona needs to be at the table if we want that train to stop here. And I think there's a lot of good reasons for us to continue to participate along with Winona County, and I hope that the council will also support that.
I'll move the additions to the budget.
Okay?
I'd second.
Okay. Motion by Paul and seconded by Pam. Other comments?
Does this then also recognize the change in the Winona County contribution?
Yes.
I would assume it would.
Yes, includes both of them.
Just wanted to make sure that both of those were in there. I support both of them.
Okay. Any other comment? George?
I know there was a communication from Leon Maszewski and Jerry Miller in support of this, so.
Yeah, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. What?
This can be a main motion now, or do we make
Well, I-
it up for the amendment, or do you make it all as one?
Oh, I thought it was
I just did
all
this
as
one.
one.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to item 5.2 is a resolution for the government accounting standards. And I believe there are 3 resolutions.
Can we approve all 3 at once? I would so make that motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by George, seconded by Jerry. Any discussion?
Just note that these resolutions are part of what we've done in the last few years in this whole process, and we do it every year, and our finance department's to be commended for their outstanding job again.
We appreciate your work. George?
And Mary, congratulations, good work.
All right, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.3 is the renewal of the property and liability insurance for 2017, excluding workers' comp.
I'll second that.
Motion by Paul, seconded by Pam. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.4 is the renewal for 2017 of workers' compensation and accident plan for city volunteers.
I'd second that.
Motion by Paul, seconded by Pam again. Any discussion?
I have one thing, Your Honor, just to point out the experience module for 2016-17 was 1.14, and the renewal is 0.92. Anything under 1 is a pretty good number. So staff should be commended for the work that they're doing to work safely, and we'll continue those efforts as we move forward.
Appreciate that. George?
Now, we have a project going on where there will be some volunteers. Would they be covered under this?
If they're working on behalf of the city, yes.
Okay.
And are we at the agenda item, is this 5.4?
Yes.
Okay, so we are selecting the rated premium option in the motion before us? Okay.
All 3 motions are.
No, there's just one on this
Just
one.
one. Oh, just one, okay.
Yeah. And I see there's an explanation from our finance director.
Okay.
Mayor and council, the recommendation is to accept the so-called retro-rated program. And we have done that over the past, all of the years I've been here, I have recommended retro-rated as compared to paying the standard premium. The standard premium would be at about $405,000. The retro-rated is there's a minimum and maximum. And so it's the minimum plus the amount of your claims. So almost most of the years, at least 2/3 of the years, it works better for us to have the retro-rated. And overall, the average, we've saved money over the years by selecting that rather than paying the one fixed amount. And so that's why I'm continuing to recommend it. And the only reason we can do that is because there is a maximum, but we do have money set aside in the reserve if we ever would have to pay that very high amount. All the years I've been here, we've never been at the maximum, so just a little bit of additional information for you. But the recommendation is, yes, the retro-rated, as we have done in the past. I think it's considered a 22% retro-rated, 0.22%.
Okay, thank you. Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.5 is the agreement to exchange maintenance responsibilities with MnDOT for the bridge maintenance.
Yes, I would move to execute the agreement.
Second.
Motion by Pam and seconded by George. Any other comments, or Al?
How does this fit in terms of the overall financial package? I assume because the state has expertise in certain areas, as the city has expertise in other areas, that either it's a wash or we come out a little bit ahead anyway.
Mayor and council, this is intended to be a wash. Currently,
Okay.
the city would be without this agreement, the city would be responsible for taking care of the decorative lights, which we're really not equipped to do, shut down the traffic, get up the snooper trucks, and the state would be responsible for doing the bike trail when it's convenient to them. It's to our advantage to have that open, and we have the equipment to do that. So we're doing this in exchange. We run some numbers together, and it is, it's not an exact science, but it's in the ballpark of a wash between the two of us.
Okay.
Any other comments? Guess we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.6, the modifications to Chapter 27, Sewers and Sewer Service.
I move to introduce the attached ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Al, seconded by Paul. Discussion? George?
Can we get a brief explanation as to what we're all doing here?
Mayor and council, in the past, the ordinance was written such that the person in the hole doing the water or sewer service had to be a licensed plumber, had to have all the license to go with it. That wasn't always the practice that was in place. This is complying with the practice, which puts the licensed person can contract it to somebody else, subcontract, but it also puts more emphasis on that licensed person's responsibility to warranty it for 2 years, to be there on site, and all of that. So this is more compliant with what we're doing, and we still feel like it's a very good way of making sure that the water and sewer services are done correctly.
There are some, but can a homeowner do their own?
Water and sewer service, no.
Okay.
Unless they have the proper licensing.
Let's say a retired plumber.
Yeah, if he's got the license, you bet. He has to get one both from the state and from the city.
Okay.
Yeah?
Have there been, in your experience, any issues with this, with unlicensed people doing service work on the city lines?
It hasn't been a problem. And we do the inspections as part of that as well. This just brings it in compliance with the practice that's been going on.
Okay.
And it increases the responsibility of the licensed individual.
Do you think this will reduce the cost to the homeowner if they have to have work done? Or is that kind of up to the individual service company?
Technically, it should, because it allows the licensed person to subcontract.
Okay.
But like I said, I think a lot of that's been going on anyway.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anything else? We'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.7 is the 2017 City Health Plan contribution.
Approval.
Second.
Motion by Paul and seconded by George. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.8 is the 2017 City Dental Plan design and rates.
Move approval.
I would second that.
Motion by Paul and seconded by Pam. Discussion?
Yes. We've never had this before, have we not?
We have not.
Okay.
Part of the process for the healthcare this year is we asked our group of employees to look at some narrow network options. And when we got finished with our process and got our rates back, we realized that we might have an opportunity to offer dental, which many cities are doing. And so Deb went out and got some bids, and we're thankful to be able to afford to offer a package like this to the employees.
Okay. Any other discussion? We'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.9 is the 2017 non-union wage package.
I would move to approve the attached resolution.
I'll second it.
Motion by George, seconded by Jerry. Any discussion, comments? City manager?
This is, the staff has been working with our unions to get contract negotiations. Chad and the team have been working really hard on this, and I think we've got all but 2 under tentative agreement. So in January 3rd, at our next meeting, we should have those contracts for your approval. Because of that, we wanted to share what the non-union employees were looking at for a wage increase. The other issue with the unions, so far, we've agreed on 2-year contracts. But because we operate with the city 1 year at a time, we're only showing the 2.5% increase.
Any other discussion? We'll vote. All those in favor
Mayor,
say,
just
sorry.
one,
Go ahead.
Now, those that have settled, were those 2 years or 3 years?
2 years.
2 years, okay. What,
We have tentative agreement. They haven't been voted yet.
okay.
Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Item 5.10 is the technical assistance, building blocks for sustainable communities.
I would move to adopt the attached resolution.
Motion by Pam, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Al. Open it for discussion. John?
I have a question about this as it relates to our current, the zoning update we're doing now, and the estimate of staff time involved to make this all happen. I understand it's a quote-unquote free seminar, but could you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. So it seemed that part of the reason I applied for this grant was it seemed like the timing would be good to work on the development code update, try to get some expert advice before that's finalized. In terms of staff time, it would probably primarily be myself. I would estimate probably 5 to 10 hours to plan and coordinate the workshop. But most of the work is being done by the EPA and their consultants who are coming in and giving that seminar. So my time would mostly be planning, coordinating, and also when they're here actually participating in the workshop, which would be the additional time of actually being in the workshops.
So is this for the city and other communities, or?
The way it's structured is it's a 2-day workshop. The first day is we're getting a lay of the land from the consultants, and then a public presentation on EPA smart growth, their policies, educating the community. The following day is a workshop for local leaders, such as yourselves, and other stakeholders in the community. They recommend having a wide group of people attend to really participate and learn and develop the plan. So it is a community type plan. And I should mention this is entirely a voluntary process. The EPA would come in and help us with our plan as we see it, and to help us do what we want to do. It's not them kind of bringing down a top-down approach. It's very much them helping us do what we'd like to do.
Okay. Other questions? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
Item 5.11 is the purchase of a trash truck for the Parks Department.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by Jerry, seconded by Paul. Discussion? Al?
Yeah, just curious, we've had one of these running around for a while, and I think it's been very efficient. But I think most people have noticed that the truck body itself is kind of rusted. And is there any process by accepting this that we'll get a unit that won't rust as quickly apparently as the one of 10 years ago? There's no guarantee? Okay.
Mayor and council, no guarantee. But as you mentioned, this is a truck that's in service
every single day with different environments, and certainly stopping at many locations and different, certainly different terrains, but certainly no guarantee that it's gonna last any longer, no.
Hopefully maintenance can, keep up with the rest anyway, if it happens in the next 8 or 9 years anyway of the truck's life.
Anything else? We'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.12 is the termination of the 1981 contract with Winona County for emergency management, and I distributed an updated resolution for your consideration.
Move approval.
I second the approval.
Motion by Paul and seconded by Pam. This is something we spent some time on in pre-council meetings, so I don't know if there's any additional questions about this. Comments? George?
Maybe Steve, if you could just mention for the public here as to kind of what we're talking about here.
We have an agreement with the county that was signed in 1981 to share the cost of emergency manager, which was provided by the county. Through the years, the person that's been holding that position, they have changed their job duties. And so the city has entered discussion with the county about modifying and changing the way that we provide these services. The reason that we are asking to terminate this contract right now is because of the language in the 1981 agreement. It requires us to do so, to give them 120 days written notice. Right now, the county has a draft contract, renewed contract from the city. The main change is that we won't be paying for the cost of the county manager. We'll provide that in-house with our own fire chief, but that the city will supply the deputy director as one of our firefighters. Again, we think this builds additional capacity in response to emergency management countywide, and it links the county and the city closer together to deal with emerging threats. The other thing that's very important to me is that the plan becomes the responsibility of the city, not so much the county, and that as we do our training and other events throughout the year, we make sure that those things are all nested in that plan.
Thank you.
Anything else? So vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
Item 5.13 is the designation of the official newspaper for 2017, and the low bidder was the Winona Post with the bid index number of 9 cents. We currently pay 15 cents.
I would move to approve the resolution allowing the bid to Winona Post.
I would second that.
Motion by George, seconded by Pam. Discussion? Hearing none. We'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
And item 5.14 is a request by Councilwoman Iden to discuss a proposal made by Councilman Double at the last meeting.
Yes, I felt that this Councilman Double's ideas were very interesting. I've heard from a number of people who were also interested in hearing more about them. I know that the school board has made its vote, but I would still like to hear more about this proposal for a novel way to solve an ongoing problem.
And
Go ahead, Bob.
I appeared before the school board and I asked them last Thursday if they would delay until the council had a chance to hear the subject and just to make the council aware of the fact that there will be, based on their decision that they made Thursday, 2 vacated city blocks when their plan is, if their plan is approved by referendum. And that will be to vacate the block that WK is on and also Madison. And as I've said in my press release, the fact is that we all represent the taxpayers, And here's two prime pieces of property that are roughly 2¼ acres each, which is a city block. Each one has a potential value in housing, once filled up, of about $3 to $4 million. And can site roughly 12 to 14 homes on those sites, and if you went to apartments, considerably more. The important thing that they needed to understand is that regardless of what they decide, the council will be the one to decide what the zoning will be, whether there will be any historic preservation required of those buildings, whatever, and what the future is. The beauty from the city standpoint is that this is a parcel that does not have to be annexed. It already has sewer and water in each of these city blocks that surround it. So it's a great potential site for housing, whether it be young families, townhouses, whatever. And the council and the school board should get together, because if they follow past practice, what can happen is these properties will go for a fire sale, as Dakota did, as the middle school did for, I believe the figure was $5,000 the middle school was sold for. And in the case of the middle school, we still have the auditorium, which is deteriorating because it was bought so cheaply that there's no money there unless the city decides to be the funding mechanism for something to happen. So I believe that it's a good opportunity at this point, since they've decided that these two properties are going to be out and not used by the district, to look at what the city would like to see the best use for those are, and to start that discussion with them. What may transpire is that if the referendum should not pass, and I think there's a reasonable assumption that it may not, because they're also wanting to vacate Rolling Stone, and I think the city of Stone will step up because they own the building and either make that a private school, charter school, and so they're going to lose the enrollments that they had anticipated that would move from Rolling Stone to Goodview are not going to happen. So I think there's a good opportunity that if the discussions are started now, that as it moves down the road, depending on what happens on their referendum, it could be that not only would the city have the opportunity for these properties, but possibly more down the road. And East Lake makes something to consider because it's on a state designated highway, and also the fact that I believe that if we and the state could put a traffic light on Hamilton Street, that it might solve part of the problem with relating to an overpass on Mankato. If the switching could not be diverted from Mankato, it could cause people to go to Hamilton rather than using Mankato, and all it would take for that to happen is someone to put electronic signage on Mankato indicating the trains were switching, and then they could, if they're coming into town, could simply go down to Hamilton. So it's got great potential, and I think the most important fact for people to understand is that the state's requirement for green space is considerably greater than the footprint of any building, and that the proposal that I put forth before talks about a building being less than 1 acre, less than 150 by 200, doesn't block any residential property's view of Sugarloaf or the lake, and I think would provide a really great environmental friendly area for kids in an elementary age to grow up and have. And I think the community would seriously look at that. But the main thing I wanted the council to be aware of is that there will be 2 city blocks for housing, and a discussion needs to start. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else wish to weigh in on this?
Absolutely. Yes, 2 city blocks may in fact becoming available. that's a long way in the future, and if so happens, everybody will be working together, and certainly we can start working on making sure that that is not going to be a fire sale, and it can end up housing potentially 20 families on full city lots, the money you're talking about. All of that, I agree with you 100%. In a trade for parkland, it gets too busy, too lost, and absolutely no, I think we should look at them separately. Presently, they're not looking at building a new school, are they? So that kind of takes the parkland out of the deal, but it does still keep on the table that we need to work with them. What is going to happen to those 2 blocks if it is decided to do that? But please, let's not muddy it, since they're not talking about a new school, muddy it with the confusion and the emotional pushback of the parkland.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying right now, they have made.
Your original
the
plan called for combined because we didn't know how they were going to go.
And they decided that they're going to vacate 2 elementary schools, and that leaves part of that proposal without a trade, the idea that those properties will be available for housing, and the city will determine what type of housing, how it'll be built.
So if they want to let them go as a fire sale, I'm sure that we'll pick them up.
Good.
Well, I mean, obviously, this is not just a city,
Right.
Or a school board issue or a city issue, but a school board and city issue, and we will be working alongside of them.
The only thing I would add is that when they go back on the tax rolls, the city, the county, and the school district all benefit because those properties right now are not on the tax rolls.
And when that discussion gets rolling, it will be a very large community issue,
Absolutely.
very large.
Anything, go ahead.
Yeah, at this point, it is certainly on the table of the school board. If it moves further forward, we need to have more discussions collectively, but I know what I'm hearing loud and clear from, I can't say everybody, but the majority of the calls I'm getting are in my neighborhood is they would certainly like to keep that school open. Obviously, it is on the table, that'd be Madison, certainly it's on the table now to be gone. But in the event that the final decision is that it's gone, to have 10 new lots in that neighborhood would be a benefit, rather than keeping whatever would happen. But again, that is down the road, collective, but I certainly hope that we don't combine it with your total plan at this point, since that other point at this point is moot, and it would make it, at a very emotionally charged discussion, even more emotionally charged if we tossed present parkland into it.
Anything else? All right,
And moving on to council concerns.
we'll start with Paul tonight.
I'd like to wish all the City of Winona employees and the council a Merry Christmas. It has been my pleasure to work with everyone and collectively attempting to move our city in a positive direction while being frugal and respecting the value of the tax dollar they have provided. I would also like to thank those who gave me the opportunity to be their voice at the table during the last 4 years. And I wish that everybody would drive safe, enjoy family and friends, and have a wonderful and healthy, prosperous new year.
Thank you. Pam?
No, I would second that. Have a very safe holiday, and we'll see you in the new year.
George?
Thank you. Our friends on the school board, as we all know, they have tough decisions. And I know the one that they announced where they would be closing WK School, it's a condition that, a decision, not a condition, a decision that they made that, a lot of people, their schools they're home to them. They're very, very close. And just one thing what people are asking is that where WK sits, it's one of the most populous parts of the city going out south of Highway 61 with many, many students coming that way as to why that school was closed. I hate to see it close. It's a tough decision. I know they have to make them, but I certainly would like to see something happen where that school perhaps could remain open. So anyway, I say it's tough. So I would like to congratulate J&J Rubbish Service on their new office complex in Truck Bay. They had a ribbon cutting this past Thursday in a very, very nice facility. And also to Rosie Wilson. Congratulations to her on her retirement from Rosie's Pub, which she's owned for the last 11 years, and she's looking forward to retirement. And also, Paul, my friend, we're neighbors, and it was nice working with you. You brought some good ideas to the table, and I'm sure we'll still be in discussion from here on in after tonight. But thank you for your service, and thank you for your commitment to the city. You've done a good job. Shake hands. I'm not going to hug you like I did Dieter Milamanka that time. And also, Merry Christmas to everyone, and have a prosperous New Year. Thank you.
Jerry?
Paul, it's been a slice working with you. It really has. You've been interesting, you've been passionate, and it has really been a pleasure working with you. So good luck to you on whatever your next endeavors are, and I'm sure you're going to be involved in something public. There's no two ways about it. To everyone else, certainly happy holiday season and Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Al?
Thank you. I've just been in receipt of a couple of newspapers from our sister city area of Japan, from Masato, speaking of how we started our meeting tonight, and they include articles about the tour and the events celebrating the 20th anniversary, including a few shots of the basketball game that occurred when you, Councilperson Alexander, and the adults and students were in Masato. So I'll give them to our clerk to be placed perhaps in the Masato room or where appropriate anyway. Also, I'd like to thank, speaking of school people, thank Gay Mortensen for her service to the Winona community, and wish her a very happy retirement from the Winona Public School District. And also thanks to Councilperson Double for his service to the Winona community during his 4 years on council. Appreciate your comments and your thoughts, Paul. Always interesting, as Jerry said. And I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
And under the consent agenda, there are 4 items. Approval of the minutes from December 5th, the final adoption of an ordinance for stop sign at High Forest on 5th Street, an ordinance for handicap parking on High Street in Wabasha, and a claim by the city against Deborah Wetzel.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I'd second that.
Motion by Al, seconded by Pam. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Mayor, I will yield my motion to adjourn to Councilman Double.
I'll move for adjournment.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. For the